Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live. It's me, Joey P. Joe P's of P. With me, of course, is the Welsh, and as all of you, the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks here on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's the place to be. Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, and of course, you can always watch us every single day on the YouTube channel, Fantasy Pros MLB. Welsh, you're back on the home run streak, my friend. Dare I say he's red hot. We got a lot to break down today. The debut of Chase Burns, the return of Frankie Montas that I don't know, Welsh. I guess I apparently jinxed. I guess that's the scenario. But I want to start in a different place, though. I want to start with Ohtani, who did go yard, and apparently everybody had him but me yesterday, and I regretted it. I said on the show yesterday, I am having Schadenfreude, and sure enough, Shohei Ohtani Schadenfreude the ball all the way out in Colorado. But there was a really interesting interview on Pablo Torre this week. Tom House, who is renowned pitching coach, worked with NFL quarterbacks too. He's the guy that worked with Nolan Ryan, in case you don't know. Everybody from Drew Brees to Tom Brady. Tom House has been that guy in terms of throwing mechanics, right? And I know everybody was kind of like, saying, well, I think Joe's overreacting to the Shohei Ohtani. Maybe he shouldn't pitch anymore. Maybe we should just let this go. And he had a fascinating take, Welsh, and I want to get your take on this too, and everybody in the chat too. He was talking about that he should solely hit and not return to pitching due to all the physical demands and the high potential for injury after undergoing 2 Tommy John surgeries now, or the Tommy John and the brace. Now he's had both. And I thought this was really interesting because this is coming from maybe one of the guys who's arguably the best in the business when it comes to arm mechanics, period. Like, he is a guru above gurus. And he was just talking about the physical training of pitching and hitting, and it's taking us on. He's such a spectacular athlete at the one. He's an MVP already, that it's just not worth it despite the contract he's getting. And I know, we kind of had a really interesting debate about it last week. And I was just curious, does Tom House's input at all change any of your perspective on the Ohtani as the pitcher as we look for him to pitch again this week?
Not 1 ounce, not even a hesitation. I think this is just like opinion throwing out there because it doesn't matter what any single person thinks except Shohei Ohtani. He runs this show. He's the one that was out throwing, just live sessions on the field when the team wanted him to just throw it, a little side bullpen session. And he said, let's make this count. Why am I throwing these competitive sessions and not putting them in games? Let's do it. He runs how this goes. I bet for years there have been meetings with the Dodgers about, the Angels or whatever it is. There's been meetings about why he shouldn't. There has been meetings when they sign the contract why he shouldn't. He probably had this discussion 10 different times, different consultants, team people. It's blatantly obvious that the arm stress of throwing and pitching can affect the hitting. And he's had the Tommy Johns and he kind of keeps getting hurt. And that pitching injury can take away from the hitting. It's a detriment to that. And it is a risk. It's a massive risk. But none of it matters because Ohtani wants to pitch. And Ohtani is going to pitch until he is done pitching. And unfortunately, that's probably either going to be the bad part. He has another injury and he's like, okay, I'm really detrimental to my career. I'm getting older. I can't do this. Or, it's just going to always work. And it's just going to a little injury here and there. But no, I don't think I'll bet you every single person has weighed in on this. This means absolutely nothing. It will change no minds whatsoever. Ohtani is going to do what he wants. It's kind of unicorn deal. He's a unicorn player. And I just truly believe he will pitch until another massive injury comes and takes away another season and potential playoff run or championship run. Because it's very different now. Very different Ohtani than the Angels one. The Angels, they were not making the playoffs. They stink. It's just a couple great players. Now, if Ohtani is lost, it's a detriment to a potential championship winning team. But him pitching,
Dodgers a playoff team without Ohtani?
Yeah, I think they're a playoff team. But I'll tell you what, in that division,
in that division, I don't know if they are.
I put them at 3rd in that division. I think the Giants might have maybe moved up. I think the Padres would be the team to beat. But in the same breath of him being hurt and not being there hurts the team. Him being a pitcher with all those pitching injuries and pushing them one step further. He was what was it, the 2 years ago? It's a top 10 SP, and he was the best bat in baseball.
So he's not talented enough to No one. It's not like he's a mediocre pitcher. No one's making that thing where it's like, hey, you're really not that good at this. You should. It's a gimmick. No, he's great. But I think that all the great athletes, they want, the superstar guys are on that whole different level. They push themselves to limits that maybe aren't healthy for them, and maybe I think that's where management has a responsibility. Personally, I'm on the other end of this, where management has a responsibility. Management has a duty to the team, to the organization, to the ownership, that it makes an investment in a player that says, you know what, maybe this isn't the best idea because you are helping us so much and you are such a huge part of our success. Last year without pitching, we won the World Series with you, and we can find other guys to pitch. We can't find anybody else to be Shohei Ohtani. And I understand the temptation of it. So it's a fascinating conversation. I'm curious what everybody else has to say in the chat. Go ahead, drop your comments. But I thought, it was very I think, when Tom House says it, I think that's one that, like, for me anyway, it kind of perked my ears up again and went, wow, that's somebody who really knows what he's talking about when it comes to this.
I guess, but I just don't see it as like, oh my God, did you see the new Tom House drop? Like, they've been talking about this for 8 years. Oh yeah,
this is a fun, respectful conversation between you and I, where I think that, we have difference of opinions about it, and I'm not trying to change yours. You're not trying to change mine, but it's a really, the only thing that's going to matter at the end of the day is the success ultimately of Ohtani doing both and how long he can do it for. And then when he can't, what does it look like and how bad is it? Because if it's another McClanahan situation, right, where we don't see him for a season or whatever it's going to be, man, that's going to be real tough. $700 million just down the drain, where you don't have Ohtani, the MVP hitter, or the pitcher. I think at this point it's getting a little dicey for me.
And I think that's where it turns into like an "I told you so" situation, just by the public and stuff.
I told you so, but
I'm not talking to you.
You even said it. It's inevitable. It's not "I told you so." It's inevitable. He will have another pitching injury. Every pitcher does. It's pitching.
Pretty much. I mean, it's funny. I was just watching.
I told you so. It's inevitable, and how bad, and when, and how long. That's
the severity of it. It's so funny. A friend of the show, Justin Steele, was doing an interview with Foul Territory yesterday. And just like off nonchalantly, they're asking like, hey, how's the rehab going? And he's like, well, he's like, my first Tommy John in 2017, it took this long. And now I'm in the second one. And it's like, you don't have two Tommy Johns in your career. Did you have a career? Like, that's kind of the point that it is. So yeah, there is an inevitability of it. But I'd also say, like, as much as pitching gets money and the chase of pitching and the excitement, I mean, this is a huge pitching day. This is Skeens versus Mizorowski day. This is a massive day for people because you got the best pitcher in baseball with one of the most ridiculous good young pitching prospects in baseball going up against each other. 11 no hits. We're not talking about like, hey, happy Ronald Acuna hitting day. Like pitching is a huge sell. It's just a massive sell for baseball. Every team is chasing it. What team is great with their pitchers? We're like, oh, the Mariners, and they lost like 3 guys. So it is the temptation of what is needed as far as pitching goes. That is why he can do it at such high levels. They're gonna push the boundaries until they have to look themselves in the mirror and go, ooh, maybe we did kind of screw this up.
That's fine. I guess flags fly forever at the end of the day. Positive Grouch, shout out to Solar Flare as well for resubbing, and Van Rod for gifting 2 subs. We appreciate you. Let's get to some more headlines here. Chase Burns debuted yesterday, fanned 8. He struck out everybody in the first couple innings, and then the Yankees got to him a little bit. I watched this start, Welsh. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but he, to me, came off more as a thrower at this stage in his career. The Yankees caught up to him, and I think he's going to, when he pitches against the Pirates, it's going to be good days for Chase Burns, and I think other days where he's pitching against teams like the Yankees, it's going to be a little bit tougher for him because I don't think he's got that pitching acumen quite yet from what I saw. That was my big takeaway from him. Impressive velo, but again, velo isn't pitching, and I'm more impressed with Mizorowski than I am with Chase Burns if I'm just putting it into context about young pitchers so far. I think like Mizorowski's ball moves a little bit more. I feel like Chase Burns, again, more of just like, here it is, we're just going to blow it by you kind of stuff. The finer points of pitching, I think, are still a ways away for Chase Burns, but still, nonetheless, certainly an impressive couple innings. I don't know what your takeaway was.
Yeah, well, first off, I almost nailed his line. I said 5 3-earned runs, 1 homer given up, but I said 6 strikeouts. He had that after the second inning. Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of see where I pretty much disagree across the board that I don't think he's a thrower. If you want to look at spin numbers, his slider, 2,900 RPM plus, fastball, pushed 28 and average almost 27. he was spinning that fastball, touching 100 and averaging 98. So, and you talk about the movement of it. That's now Mizorowski, by the way, is like a technician of movement. His like slider's ridiculous, but like this is well above average. An average 28 RPM slider is ridiculous. He also threw all 3 pitches 50% or higher in the zone. So that's also not just a thrower. That, you know, if you saw the fastball at like 40% or something, like he's just, guys don't know what it is and they're going. He was over 50%, which was good. He had a 29% whiff rate. But he's also young. That's where I think more of this comes in.
Sure, yeah.
This guy last year was hanging with me on the backfields of the Reds, not throwing whatsoever. He had just finished college baseball. He is less than a year removed being into the majors and going up against the New York Yankees. So I don't know. I thought the slider looked good. The fastball is ridiculous. He threw out that changeup. It was a good pitch mix. I don't know what more you could ask for. It's pretty not uncommon for second or third time through, you know, for hitters to kind of get to pitchers, and pitchers have to adjust. And that's what he has to learn, the intricacies of baseball and stuff like that. But I thought his stuff was ridiculous, and some pretty good command and some good spin. Chase Burns looks all the part of like the top pitching prospect in baseball. You could argue him, Mizzy, maybe Bubba, and Andrew Painter. That's like that's the Fantastic Four of pitching prospects.
Yeah, I think he's, like I said, to me, more of a thrower at this stage. But like, because the velocity is so good, you get away with it. Tom Seaver used to say location, velocity, movement, right? Those were the 3 things you needed. But the order he would put them in, it was very interesting, because he would always say, first one is location. Location. It's all about
That's old baseball stuff, because now that's velo.
I know, now it's velo, and you know what? I think it's wrong. I think if you still move the batter's eye, it's really hard for them to hit balls. If you throw in 100 miles an hour, they can hit it down the pipe still. I mean, it's the problem Hunter Greene had, which is ironic because it's the same organization, right? Where Hunter Greene was just like, here it is, I got 100, hit it. And they were nice where Hunter Greene would get lit around the ballpark a little bit and give up a lot of home runs, because guys can catch up with that nowadays. They're faster. They're, you know, they work on these hitting, you know, machines where they're pumping up to 100+ miles an hour. So they're more prepared than ever.
I watched Hunter Greene literally from day one develop for over 3 years. And the thing that always stood out, though, is he was just a dead red center. He had no movement on that pitch. It would just go. And that's the thing that is different, though, with Chase Burns. Like I said, you can see it, whether it's visual or you want to look at the numbers, 2,800 max on your four-seam fastball with almost 2,700 RPM. That is a wildly good fastball. I didn't look at the Stuff Plus numbers after the game. I'm going to guess the Stuff Plus numbers were pretty high across these pitches, and we'll have to see. He is the youngest of all the other guys. That's the other thing to throw out here, where I disagree that he's like a thrower and stuff. The reason it looks a little bit also is because it's like, you know, like I said, 10 months ago, this guy was just walking around not throwing. He got the freaking fast track to the majors, and there's still some stuff.
2024 class has been, I mean, you know, incredible. God, dude. And we said it last year. If you go back and watch that show, we were so excited about that class. And, you know, we'll be doing that show again this year, too, with the 2025 class. Todd the Jackass says, Joe calling Burns a thrower, not wanting Ohtani to pitch. Seems like he hates fun. Why do you hate fun, Joe? I don't hate fun. I just want to help people win fantasy leagues. Like, that's what it's clear that it's time for me to go to football full time soon, because I guess I'm too cranky for the audience. I don't hate fun. I'm just saying, I want to see Shohei Ohtani every single day, and him pitching every 5th day to me. You made all these investments in the Glasnows and the Yamamotos and the Roki Suzakis and you know, Snell and all these guys. Like, that's their job. Shohei Ohtani's job is to go 50-50 again. That's what I want him to focus on doing. And I just, you know, I don't want to not have Shohei Ohtani. That's my problem. All right, let's talk about Frankie Montas. Oh, he shut out the Braves for 5 innings. The Braves. He was hitting 96 on the gun.
Whoops.
He was up 1.5 miles on his fastball. Whoops. I mean, you know, baseball just kicks you in the nuts every single time. It's unbelievable. He struck out 5 guys.
That we can agree on, Joey. That we can agree on. And whenever you think you got it and you got it figured out,
you're like,
nope,
oh, this is
baseball is insane.
Just, I mean, this was just, I just laughed. I was watching this, flipping back and forth between this and the Yankee game, just laughing. Just like chuckling out loud by myself downstairs in the ballroom watching this game. Spencer Strider, on the other hand, in this game, 3 runs, 5 innings, struck out 8, got out of trouble in a big spot. Then there was a really long inning where they didn't bring him back, which I understand. Like, just, you know, we got the lead. He was down 3-0. They came back and they took the lead. Just take him out of the game and just move on to the next one.
Did you like him chirping Soto, by the way?
Yeah, I loved it. That's what I want. I want Spencer Strider, edgy, ready to go. Raiso Iglesias, by the way, got the save in that game, so it looks like he's getting back in the good graces. So The window is gone. Tarik Skubal, he's pretty good. His 9th victory. He hasn't lost a game since his 2nd start of the season, Welsh. Just wanted to throw that out. I thought that was a fun stat.
That's actually ridiculous.
Garrett Crochet, 7 scoreless, 10 strikeouts for him. And Pirates manager, didn't I just say this yesterday where I'm done with Oneil Cruz? Is it yesterday?
You definitely did say you were done with Oneil Cruz.
He was removed Tuesday for a, quote, lack of energy and effort by the Pirates manager. And you know what?
There's
same thing I'm seeing.
There's context to this, though. I will say there are 2 things. First off, Oneil Cruz did it actually was just kind of dumbness, stupidity, because he thought there were already 2 outs. So when the ball came into second, he thought that was a 3rd out, which was why he led up.
Still stupid. Still your head down to the game.
But here's what you do like. Took complete responsibility after. Fair. And he talked. He said, you know what? He's like, I talked with him. I respect it. And this has happened. I have great leaders. He took full responsibility for it. So just throwing that out
ball
there.
In the outfield that he watched get by him for about
that was one of the dumbest looking plays in baseball.
I mean that's the problem. It's compounding. Oneil Cruz has a lot of talent, but Oneil Cruz is, I think, another one of these. There's a Gregory Polanco, even Starling Marte to a certain degree, where the Pirates have a knack for finding these guys that are just, they look good doing it. But man, oh man, there's just something missing. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like there's that other piece of the puzzle. I don't know what it is.
You know what I always think? I want to do this. It's something I used to do when I was a kid, like in the MLB The Show games, was I loved to take, whatever the current landscape was in the video game, and I would take and put all the players on their original drafted teams and look at what those teams would look like. And I just think back to the Dodgers. Dodgers had Oneil Cruz. They gave up on him. They had Yordan Alvarez. They traded him. Like, imagine what that Dodger homegrown team could have looked like if they put it together. But,
I forgot Alvarez was in that system.
God, I know.
That was a long time. Wow.
All those crazy trades where it's like Willie Adames was a Tiger, before he was traded, and David Price trade.
I remember the Adames one.
No.
David Price has been involved in a couple of wacky moves, I feel like.
I kind of miss David Price. I loved David Price when he was a Ray.
Why don't you give him a call? He's All right, let's get to transactions here. Let's start with the Cubs, who sent Ben Brown to AAA. So apparently, again, another thing that's supposed to be a lock yesterday, Ben Brown at nighttime. Nope. Ben Brown was bad, and he has a 6 ERA, and he's bringing it all the way down to AAA with him, which brings us to today's Microsoft Chasing Challengers segment. That's right, everybody. Just like the athletes who push boundaries and redefine what's possible, business decision makers today are turning challenges into opportunities, and Microsoft meets you where you are with tools and guidance to help you make an impact with safe, secure AI solutions. So whatever challenges you're facing, Microsoft empowers you with the expertise to say, bring it on. In this segment, we're going to talk about the Cubs pitching staff, because I think we need to. The Milwaukee Brewers are just a couple games out now, 3.5 games out. The 5, I think, plus 550 are getting on the Milwaukee Brewers. I keep looking. I know Shohei Ohtani is coming back. I look at the rest of this rotation, and I keep saying to myself, eventually this Cubs Cinderella story is coming to an end. Imanaga has not pitched well. His expected ERA is in the mid to high 4s. So is his FIP. His strikeout rate's down. His walk rate is up. He is not the savior, I think, right now this year, unless he completely turns things around from what it was earlier in the season. And Ben Brown didn't work out. I know Boyd's been pretty good. We're really afraid of the Cubs down the stretch with the pitching rotation as is currently constituted. And do they have the chips in the system to go out and get a big-time starting pitcher? I just don't think they do. And I think the smart thing to do right now is put all your chips on the Milwaukee Brewers for that Central, because as the summer drags on and the hitting levels off, the rotation is what is going to have to carry a team. And that's one thing the Brewers have a lot of. They have pitchers and more pitchers and a few other pitchers that are still on the way. Who knows? Maybe even that Brandon Woodruff fella. And that's this week's Chasing Challenges. Remember, Microsoft AI solutions empower you to take bold steps and new ideas to help drive your business forward. With Microsoft as your trusted partner, you can navigate your journey with confidence, finding innovative solutions and reaching new possibilities. Visit Microsoft.com/challengers to learn more.
Interesting. Yes. Did you know that the Central is never mind, but it's the second. There's only 2 divisions in all of baseball that 4 of the 5 teams have plus run differentials. That is the NL West, kind of probably no shocker, and the NL Central, all positives, but they have the most even distribution 4 of the 5 teams have at least a 40 plus or higher run differential, so scoring more than others. I agree with a decent amount of what you said in there. The 2 things I would say is the Cubs do have the assets to go make whatever moves they want. Their system is loaded with lots of interesting prospects. And I think a team not to sleep on is the Reds. The Reds were the team that I was on in preseason, kind of let off. Interesting thing, Passan was talking about that Reds, and just watch out for them. You talk about pitching, Lodolo, Hunter Greene comes back, Brady Singer, Chase Burns. They've got the trade assets. You got Ellie. Yeah,
Tito can do it, man.
I actually think that could be a really, really fun division, and I don't think anyone's a lock, and that's why
if the Cubs finish 4th, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's why, like, whether it's your Brewers or you want to back even a Reds or something like that, I think they're all in play, because as much as I do believe that the Cubs have the pieces to make some of those moves, I'm just not sure that they're going to, and the rest of the division has to be aggressive as well. We keep talking, everybody ships Sandy Alcantara to the Cubs, and it's like, okay, well then why hasn't it happened yet? What if a team like the Reds or the Brewers swooped in? Both teams have pieces in their minor league system to do it.
I think better pieces. The Mets certainly do also.
The Cubs have closer to ready pieces, which is different. Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara, James Triantos. They've got the pieces
for Alcantara trade. There you go. That's a fun one.
That'd be fun.
Cody and Anaheim, excuse me. This take is exhausting, Joe. Oh, I'm so exhausted. Cody's exhausted, everybody. Shohei is a top 10 SP, and he deserves to go until his arm falls off. That's great. Except when his arm falls off, then he's useless to all of us and the Dodgers. You spend $700 million on a player you're not going to see for, I don't know, 9 months. Like, that's a problem in my universe.
Didn't the last injury, didn't he, like, not miss time? It was just he had to stop throwing and he just
No, it was because of the timing of it. See, the timing of it was the sense that it happened towards the end of the year, if memory serves, and they shut him. Remember, it was the year that he was supposed to be traded. Remember why I kept screaming on the show, trade Shohei Ohtani, Angels, you're not for real. And then they kept him, and a week later, Shohei Ohtani got hurt in August. So by the time he was able to, like, pick up a bat and swing a bat, he was okay then. But the problem is, like, again, it was a little slow to that uptake as well, but that's the problem, is that the timing of it. If the timing of this injury is April next year, it wipes out your entire season practically. And that is a lot to take on for a team that has that much payroll and that much expectations. I'm just
warning everybody. If Ohtani gets hurt pitching this year, it will be the worst show.
Well,
Joe will wear the crown. I
don't want it. This is not that whole thing like where the Garrett Cole, I told you so, he's gonna have Tommy John, and he did. It was a little later than I thought, and I knew he didn't look right to me the entire time. This is going back to that same Ohtani conversation that I had with the Angels, which is, I was right about that because the Angels were in a spot where Ohtani was hitting and pitching and his value would never be higher, and there was no way they were going to compete with the big boys to bring Ohtani back. It was never going to happen. They could have remade that whole organization. Do you realize that the Angels are basically in last place in every single division of the minor leagues? Have you seen this? Did you see that
they're one of the worst
organizations. You could have rebuilt the Angels from the ground up with 4 or 5 prospects there that were major league ready. And instead they fooled themselves into thinking we're somehow in this thing, acquired a bunch of B- guys, C- guys. And then a week later, Ohtani got hurt. It was so stupid.
Stupid. You know what? The one thing I agree in this entire Ohtani conversation with you is the biggest fumble was the Angels not getting anything 100%. And letting him walk how they did. Look at what a rental piece of Soto had done. Just imagine what they could have done. But the problem is they can't. From top to bottom, the organization is dysfunctional. They've been dysfunctional for years in how they treated the lower levels, their overall development. They don't let guys go to AAA. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They need a complete overhaul, and their system is laughable. It is laughable.
Oh, it's just terrible. Again, and that was the bigger point. The bigger point was, he's going to go. Get everything you can for him. Stop. Like, all of a sudden, what if they won the World Series that year? The Angels won the World Series that year. He was going to magically stay.
Do you see this comment from Fredicini, which is a great name, by the way, Fredicini Alfredo? Joe does this because he'll be gone by July and Welsh will have to hear it when he gets hurt. You're going to leave me with the destruction and damage, which, there's some of that.
I don't want it to be so. Whit Merrifield retired. Aw. Whit Merrifield had a pretty good career. 36 years old. I mean, can you imagine retiring at 36? 3-time All-Star, went from a nothing prospect, remade himself into an all-star, bounced around with a couple teams after his success with the Royals, but a good career for Whit Merrifield.
What I thought was really, I mean, it's funny you say that, like, we were practically that age when we started our fantasy career, and he's like retiring. But you know what I thought was so wild about this. He retired at 9 years, and the writing must have been on the wall. He stopped short of that 10-year marker. You know, if these guys play 10 years, you're then put into God, I'm forgetting what the word is. It's like the 10-year marker, you get the insurance and you're paid. What's the, like if you're a cop, what's that word?
Like the pension plan?
The pension. Thank you. You're
it's
put
10
in
years to be in the pension?
It's a 10-year. That's why they have they like pop bottles and they celebrate when players get to 10 years. They're put into like that whatever there's a rev share for, it's like a pension. There's
10 years to qualify for MLB pension, a minimum of 172 days on active roster for those 10 years. Wow.
Yeah, so he retired at 9, which must have been so telling that there was 0.0 interest that he could have just stayed on a roster to end up getting that, because that's a huge, huge deal for players to get there. It covers you for your life in at least some capacity. But there must have been zero interest from him, which is pretty telling. And, the Hall of Fame he'll be talking to is that the Pretty Good Hall of Fame on Twitter will probably be calling for him. No one else, though.
Oh, he's not a Hall of Famer. He's not even the Hall of Very Good. He's an all-star player.
Have you seen that account, by the way?
What?
The Hall of Pretty Good, or the Hall of, I think it's called the Hall of Pretty Good. It's a Twitter account that they actually have there's some you can't be this, and they get players to interact with them, and they're electing every week a player of the Hall of Pretty Good. And you get Denard Span got in, and he did an acceptance speech, and Eric Hosmer got elected to it. It's a pretty funny account.
There. Oh, Whit Merrifield I'd put in there. He's a 3-time.
I think he's going to get thrown into there. I don't think they'll give him a pension.
I think he's had a better career than Hosmer. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I think Hosmer had a better.
I think Hosmer had higher expectations, and then everybody just assumed he was better than he was. You go back and look at the numbers, like, oh yeah, he was pretty cool.
I kind of always loved Hosmer. Hosmer's a really cool guy. When he became a Padre, he was just a nice guy on the backfields when no one really cared about them as well. But he won a championship. Did Witt? I don't think Merrifield won one. Did he?
Was he on the 2015 team?
Well, I mean, now
I think so.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look. I gotta look up Eric Hosmer
because it's 9 years. You just said it. Richard Fitz is coming back, so if the dick fits, you put it in that rotation, folks. Rookie Lookie, Christian Moore, 2 for 4 with 2 homers, including the walk-off yesterday. Very exciting. Marcelo Mayer, 3 for 4. He's only hitting 216, though, but he does have 4 home runs, so at least he's hitting for some power. Michael Tolia, 3 for 5 with 3 doubles. Look at him, hitting doubles all over the place. A doubles machine. And Chase DeLauder, 2 for 3 with a triple, 2 walks, 2 runs, filling up the stat sheet at AAA Columbus. Do you have an answer to that question there, Josh? I get that you were typing.
Yeah, so real quick with Hosmer. Yeah, no, you were. Well, I did Hosmer. I didn't do Merrifield yet. Hosmer might be the pinnacle of the Hall of Pretty Good. He won a 2015 World Series, which I think that would mean Witt was not there. 4 Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, an All-Star MVP. I think that's the quintessential.
I think
Hall of
very good. I'm thinking Maglio Ordonez. I'm thinking Carlos Lee. Those are the names to me.
Ordonez.
Those are the dudes that had 3,100 seasons. Eric Hosmer didn't sniff 3,100 seasons. Hold on. Carlos Lee, check this out. 31-13, 31-99, 32-114, 37-116, 28-81, then 32-119, 28-100, Holy crap. Carlos Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, he played for 14 seasons.
Elect him to the runs. Hall of Pretty Good. By the way, Merrifield,
Carlos
nothing.
Lee's the Hall very good.
Merrifield had 3 All-Star games, and that was it. No, nothing else. No World Series, no anything.
Fun fact, on CBS, the most dropped player last weekend was Jack Leiter. I didn't even look for that. It just kind of popped out at me when I was doing research for the waiver show today. I just wanted to share that.
Well,
Taj Bradley, good news for him. He's been awful. He took a no-hitter into the 6th. So Welsh said the other day on a show, and I think he's totally right, which is someday Taj Bradley, 4 years from now, is going to pop off and become the Taj Bradley we all want him to be. Because he has starts like this that remind you of how good he might be able to be, but it's just never consistent.
It's going to be like Max Fried level, he's just Bradley will be just kind of average, and then all of a sudden he's going to win 17 games.
Zach Wheeler? Zach Wheeler was that?
Yeah, Zach Wheeler
just kind of was
yeah,
San Fran prospect. The Mets couldn't get him right, and they're like, whatever. And then the Phillies paid him to be the Zach Wheeler he could be, and then he was. That's pretty wild.
By the way, Taj Bradley, 3.66 expected ERA, about a full run lower than he currently has. He's lowered the strikeouts, though. I just don't think I don't know if it'll happen this year, but like I said, just put a pin in it in a couple years from now when Taj Bradley has like 17 wins. And just remember this.
Mm-hmm. Tyler Freeman, we're going to talk about him, by the way, Thrasher. I see your quote here. We're going to talk about him on the waiver show today, so make sure you tune in for that. We're recording it right after the show. Ups and downs. Nico Hoerner, really good day for him. 3 for 4 with a homer, 2 runs scored. Joey Ortiz homer twice, and Riley Greene. Riley Greene, everybody. It's Mad Dog Russo. Riley Greene is 4 for 5 with a double and a couple runs scored and a couple of ribbies for the Tigers. They killed the A. The Athletics are terrible. Welshy, the Athletics, how bad are they? They're the worst. The downs, Chris Paddack, the Twins pitching is just the worst right now. 4 earns for him. His ERA has jumped from 3.5 to 4.6, by the way, over his last 3 starts. The Twins are just imploding.
If you trusted Chris Paddack,
I know
you were asking for this. You were asking
so sad because the Twinkies are just one after the other after the other.
Not to pitcher shame you or anything like that, or pickup shame, but like you were asking for this.
Jameson, Taillon got rocked around, 8 runs for him. Again, the Cubs pitching, and Luis Severino never disappoints. 7 runs for him, given up in 5 innings. Injuries: Max Meyer done for the year. Surgery on the labral hip area.
Yep.
So that doesn't sound too good.
I feel like a hip surgery would be like the worst. Am I wrong?
It says it's a 6 to 8 month recovery, and if you put that generously, he should be ready for the beginning of next year, theoretically.
Yeah.
You could do with that as you will, but it looks like Max Meyer's becoming one of these guys that like what could have been. Sean Manaea, what could be for him is another couple days off. He got a cortisone injection. There were some loose bodies in his elbow. Apparently, Ron Darling was talking about it. He said he had the same thing twice, and it's just about pain tolerance. So get your cortisone shot and then get out there and pitch is basically what Ron Darling was saying. You got to love those 86 Mets. Smoking a cigarette, do a line of cocaine, and go out there and pitch.
About on time, we both did the same thing we thought with the Mets. So,
all right, I'm ready to go. Let's go pitch. Let's go. Michael Harris, he had an elbow contusion. He is out after getting hit by a pitch. Zach Neto jammed his shoulder. He's having test done Wednesday. Bryce Eldridge diagnosed with a hamstring strain, so he's going to miss about a month. So you might not see Bryce Eldridge this year with the big club at all. Eugenio Suarez, MRI later this week, so fingers crossed for the Diamondbacks, because if he's hurt, this is a huge loss for their trade chips. Suarez is the trade chip, and if they don't have him, that's crap.
I do think it's going to be one of they got to choose between Naylor and Suarez, unless they can get a deal done, but it's all about getting a deal done. Naylor is supposed to be back today. I think it makes most sense. What I would want is for them to trade Suarez, because I think he has a lot of trade equity, keep Naylor, and Lawler goes to third. Or if they trade Naylor, you can move Eugenio to first, and then you can make room for Lawler in the future. But they really do need to move one of these guys, because that team is they're cooked. They're cooked. Corbin Carroll just, fractured wrist, and we found that confirmation. It's even worse. So Eugenio, if MRI comes back clean, I think we're going to see Suarez. I really do think he's going to be the one moved, even though they love him.
Check out these Maglio Ordonez stats while you were talking. I saw Carlos Lee, so I got 30 117, 32 126, 31 113, 38 135, 29 99. Then he had
those are White Sox years, right?
Those are White Sox years. And then Detroit 24 104, 28 139, 21 103. And the best part is, it's like even strikeout to walks. He's like striking out 64 times and walking 60 times. Like, what a stud. That's the Hall. Very good. Maglio Ordonez and Carlos Lee were always the cornerstones for me.
I think I loved Matt. I remember loving Maglio Ordonez too.
Oh, both those guys. You were also a Carlos Quentin guy too for that hot.
Oh gosh, that was. I've told the story, but I was on a radio show as a tech, and I called Carlos Quentin hitting a homer in his first at bat in his first game to the radio host, and the next day the radio host had to just eat it and give me credit. It was phenomenal. I love Carlos Quentin. I think he's coaching with the White Sox now. Sorry, go ahead.
No, Todd's redeeming himself in the chat. Maglio is greater than Harold Baines. I agree. And Carlos Lee, after going through those stats, is better than both of them. So I don't know if we suspect Carlos Lee was a guy who had special vitamins or not. I don't know, but I never heard anything about it. All I know is that dude was balling. Carlos Lee, I just took it for granted that he was so good.
What's he doing now? I want to know what both of them are doing right now.
He had his 10 years, so he's all right. He's got his pension.
Yeah, they got the pension.
Reese Olson is going to make a rehab start today, actually. Yordan Alvarez is hitting off a tee, just like many children in the tri-state area, T-ball season. Alec Manoah threw a 25 live batting practice session. Garrett Mitchell was diagnosed with a left shoulder injury. It's going to require surgery, so that's bad news. And more news from the Brewers because, well, Brandon Woodruff is coming back to rehab. The prodigal son returns to rehab. I've been waiting for you here at rehab, Brandon Woodruff. Just waiting here for you. You know what this is. You know what's going to happen next. Once you come back to rehab, you'll never leave. You'll be here all summer long with me, Joey P, Dark Joe in rehab in Toledo or AAA Nashville or wherever the hell they're playing today. That's where you're going to be forever and ever, stuck in rehab. I hope you've brought all your things with you. I'm waiting.
I need a Photoshopped of like a puppet master and it's Joe's face and it's a little Brandon Woodruff as the doll. That's what I desperately need that.
Oh, yeah, they tried to send him to rehab, and he's like, no. All right, let's get to the best bets
of the day
with Joey P and the Welsh. It can't be worse than yesterday. Holy crap.
Oh, do you have I was
Frankie
pretty good.
Montas, Ben Brown. You know, you do all that work, Welsh. You do all the work, all the data makes sense, and you're like, this is good. This is good, informative betting advice. And then you just take a match to it, and you light it on fire.
Happens.
Texas run line against the Baltimore Orioles today. Let's start there. Plus money on Jacob deGrom. I'll take it. Young is on the mound. Sagano is not making the start today, so Young gets the start instead for Baltimore. I'll take the Texas Rangers against the Baltimore Orioles, -1.5 on the run line at plus money. Also plus money run line. We've got the Philadelphia Phillies with Zach Wheeler on the mound against the Houston Astros, so I'll take that one as well. And then give me the straight up money line, +112. I think the Twinkies are imploding and George Kirby is on the mound for the Seattle Mariners. So give me Seattle plus money. So 3 plus money plays. What could go wrong, Welsh? Where are you going for your best bets today?
Well, I've got all pitching strikeouts. It's a strikeout bonanza here, and I've been rolling a lot of 2-in-1 days, but it has been not very prop heavy. So we'll see how this goes. But I am in it, and I like it. It's Paul Skeens, not just Paul Skeens, but it's like you remember the bit for the cheese. I think it was from Wedding Crashers or whatever. But it's Paul Skeens. Over 7.5 strikeouts. There's an extra E. That's why I'm doing it for people listening. Paul Skeens over 7.5 strikeouts. It's plus money, +115. He is going to be ramped up even a little bit more going up against Mizorowski. There's some strikeouts in play with the Brewers for sure. Anytime you can get, plus money on a very obtainable strikeout run for Paul Skeens, I'm going to take it. And I think old school. Thank you. It was an old school, not Wedding Crashers. I'm pretty comfortable with this one. Mackenzie Gore as well. Now, Mackenzie Gore, one of your top strikeout pitchers in baseball. The reason this number is low is the San Diego Padres, which I get. But there's also revenge narrative. He's going up against his old team. A lot of players he came up in the system with. 6 strikeouts, Mackenzie Gore, he's got the stuff to get to these guys. I actually feel very confident about this one. It's a very low number. 6 strikeouts, Mackenzie Gore. And then my final one, I'm going with an under on the strikeouts. Max Scherzer, under 4.5 strikeouts. It's a little juiced up. I love playing this one. He hasn't really been great in the minors. The Guardians don't really strike out. He doesn't really have that crazy big strikeout stuff right now. I'm taking the under on Max Scherzer. I think he's going to get hit around a little bit. I'm not sure he's going to be able to snip this. So under 4.5 strikeouts on Scherzer. So we got over plus money, and juiced under on the strikeouts. Those are my props, my final ones of the week.
So go ahead and make your bets over at FanDuel right now. Go to fantasypros.com/leadingoff, bet $5, win $250 in bonus bets when your first bet hits, and download the Betting Pros app today. Get premium there when you use the promo code leadingoff. All the tools, the premium ones, 7 days for free. We've got all the tools for baseball, for NFL, for every single sport to make you a better. So bet smarter, not harder with the Betting Pros app today. I knew I was going to regret not taking Ohtani yesterday. I had it. I took it out of the sheet. So mad. And Wonky Penguins at 27. 23 is the number. Welsh is right there. You're at what, 22? Is that?
I think I'm at 21. I think I just got to 21. So I'm still 20. So yeah, I'm 2 off the board. I'd have to have a pretty killer week, and I'm not here for 2 days. So I either have to go perpetuity or I'm going to have to, try to get it in on it. While I'm at the dance competition, I might be able to call some homers.
Where's Joe Rico and Mike Mayer and Worm on this list? Are they even in 20 and 10? Where are they?
Joe Rico, I don't think has really played it very well. I don't know. I honestly,
I don't. Gross.
I don't know if Mayer has been playing it this year.
Well, that's sacrilege. How dare
That's very sad.
How dare
Like,
you host a show, be the Discord guy, and not participate in the home run contest?
and how
That's
about this? How about people giving Joe Pisapia crap about leaving when football comes in, and yet the great Mike Mayer, who doesn't grace us with his presence in the chat anymore, doesn't do the home run contest. Very disappointing.
Yeah, Garrett Crochet, another great start. You know, no videos anymore, nothing.
Very disappointing.
All right, I'm going with Shohei Ohtani today, so I'm gonna do people who refuse to take him 2 days in a row. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna just do it. Plus 182. Where are you going for your home run call?
This is like, I love the play itself, but I think there's a little more narrative to this as well. I don't know if everybody saw this, but yesterday, Ketel Marte was seen like crying on the field, and people thought there was speculation because Vargas had hurt himself, so maybe they were good friends. People thinking maybe trade, but there's this really bad incident where a fan yelled something about Ketel Marte, about his mother who had died in a car crash in 2017. Really disgusting scene. And it really hit Ketel. Ketel wears a lot of like bright colors and pink in kind of remembrance. Ketel is a great guy. You know, me and him are great friends, by the way. We hang out in the backfields and stuff on my Instagram with pictures. Ketel is a great human being. And you could tell, I felt for the emotion for a lot of people try to hold back stuff. You know what I mean? He did not hold back. It affected him. They threw this idiot out. Hopefully he gets banned and all that. And there's some, a lot of people circling around Ketel, which I love. I love that for him because that was a really gross scene and you just feel bad for him. Ketel's going to step up today. Ketel is a gamer. He's going to step up today, and I think I might get 2, and it's going to be a great story. I think what a beautiful story it will be after that gross incident for him, still in Chicago, to go in today, be at the top of the lineup, and drop a bomb. So I'm going with Ketel Marte for my home run call today. And if I don't change it, he'll be my in perpetuity, by the way. But I will try to be paying attention. Might even drop into some of the chats, by the way, and some of the shows while you guys are rocking while I'm out.
And today, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, you could join us live on the YouTube channel for, we'll be watching, who knows, maybe Mizrowski and everybody will still be pitching at that time. I think they have a 2 o'clock start, 2:15 start.
Ooh, I think 4? Good call on that. Yeah, because we go
at the end of that game, more likely.
It would have been amazing if it was going on. Yeah, that game starts. No, it's 2 hours before.
Yeah,
the Angels
during
Angels, Red Sox, Padres, Nationals will be going on as we go live.
So we'll have a little baseball live. Take your questions, have some fun. Talk about the stats of Magglio Ordonez and Brian Giles. Another guy who was really good. That's the Hall, very good.
Oh, Brian Giles.
Here we go. Brian Giles.
Remember Marcus Giles?
115, 35, 123, 37, 95, 38, 103, 2088, 23, 94. That's pretty good years. That's a pretty good run right there. Eric Hosmer doesn't sniff that. Denard Span, get out of here with that trash. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on for the Welsh. I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Get out of here, Eric Hosmer. And Lorenzo Cain. Actually, he's a really nice guy.
Lorenzo Cain was pretty cool, too.
Lovely guy. Big fantasy.
Someone said Justin Upton. I love Justin Upton.
Justin Upton, not quite good enough, I don't think. Moises Alou, he's the Hall of very good. Matt Holliday, Hall of very good.
Troy Tulowitzki.